Nigeria, an African country with over 200 main battle tanks and can deploy troops across borders in under 18 hours. And it is so rich that it once funded nearly 90% of an entire regional war mission. Yet somehow, this same military is ranked only 38th in the world. So what's really going on here? Is Nigeria hiding a military giant? Or is there something the world isn't seeing? Because behind the numbers is a force shaped by real combat, regional dominance, and constant pressure. But the full story is far more layered than it looks. Before we continue, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And let's dive into how this hidden giant actually works. When you look up at Nigeria's military, well, it might not shout for attention, but once you look at the numbers, it's hard to ignore. With around 230,000 active personnel, it's one of the largest forces on the continent. And when you include reserves and paramilitary units, that number jumps even higher. And what makes it different is that this isn't just a big army sitting idle. Nigeria's forces are constantly active across multiple regions at the same time. From internal operations to border security, they're used to handling pressure from every direction. And historically, this force grew fast. During the Civil War, troop numbers exploded from about 85,000 to over 250,000 in just a few years. That kind of rapid expansion shaped a military built for scale, not just precision. But the thing is, despite all this size and experience, Nigeria still sits outside the top global military powers. And that's because size alone doesn't define strength. Technology, logistics, and reach matter just as much. So while Nigeria looks like a giant on paper, the real story is more complicated. And once you see what this force has done beyond its borders, that's where things get even more interesting. Nigeria doesn't just defend itself, it steps into other countries' conflicts too. And it's been doing that for decades. During peacekeeping missions in Liberia and Sierra Leone, Nigeria deployed thousands of troops, often taking the lead in regional operations. At one point, it contributed around 12,000 out of 16,000 total troops in Liberia, funding up to 90% of the mission. That's not just participation, that's dominance. And this isn't a one-time thing. Nigerian forces have been involved in multiple UN and regional missions, building real battlefield experience that many armies never get. Fast forward to today, and that same capability shows up again. In a recent regional crisis, Nigeria deployed air power and ground forces within just 18 hours, quickly securing airspace and stabilizing the situation. That kind of rapid response tells you something, that this is a military that can move fast when it needs to. But there's another side to this story. While Nigeria can project power across borders, it still struggles with long-range global reach and advanced logistics. So yes, it's a regional powerhouse, but not yet a global one. And the real reason why becomes clear when you look at the machines behind the soldiers. Take its tank force. Around 200 main battle tanks form the backbone of its ground power, with about 80 T-72 M1 tanks leading the charge. These aren't just for show. They're equipped with powerful guns and missile systems that can strike targets up to 5 kilometers away. Then there's the air. Nigeria operates over 30 combat aircraft and more than 50 helicopters. Among them is the Mi-35M attack helicopter, a heavy gunship that can carry troops, fire rockets, and support ground missions all at once. And it doesn't stop there. Artillery systems like the Palmaria howitzer can hit targets over 30 kilometers away, giving ground forces serious fire support. Even drones are part of the mix. Armed UAVs have been used for surveillance and targeted strikes, adding a modern edge to the battlefield. But here's the catch. A lot of this equipment comes from foreign suppliers. And that dependence? It's exactly what Nigeria is trying to change. Because the next phase isn't just about using weapons. It's about building them. For years, Nigeria relied heavily on imported weapons. Tanks from one country, drones from another, aircraft from somewhere else. But that's starting to change. Right now, Nigeria is pushing hard toward local production. Through its defense industry, it's already producing small-caliber ammunition, like 7.62 millimeters and 9 millimeter rounds domestically. And the goal is bigger than that. Leaders have openly said they want Nigeria to become a major producer of military equipment in the near future. This shift isn't just about independence, it's about control. When a country builds its own weapons, it decides how and where they're used. No external restrictions, no waiting on suppliers. We're also seeing early signs of this transition. Locally built rifles, armored vehicles, and even drone systems are starting to enter service. But let's be real, this transformation is still in progress. Nigeria still depends on foreign partners for advanced systems and high-end technology. So right now, it's in between two phases, not fully dependent, but not fully independent either. And that middle position becomes even more complicated when you look at the battles happening inside the country. Despite all its strengths, Nigeria is still fighting a long and difficult internal conflict. Since 2009, insurgent groups have been active, using tactics that are hard to predict and even harder to stop. These groups don't fight like traditional armies. They use ambushes, surprise attacks, and hit-and-run tactics. In some cases, they've even overrun military bases, targeting equipment and leadership directly. In early 2026 alone, multiple commanding officers were killed in coordinated attacks, showing just how serious the threat still is. And it's not limited to one region anymore. Violence has spread, putting pressure on the military across different parts of the country. Even with drones, helicopters, and armored vehicles, this kind of warfare is tough because it's not just about firepower, it's about intelligence, coordination, and strategy. To support these efforts, international partners have stepped in, with around 200 foreign troops expected to assist in training and coordination roles. So while Nigeria looks powerful from the outside, inside, it's still dealing with a complex and ongoing battle. And that's what makes this story far more than just a show of strength. And apart from that, there's something else quietly holding this entire military together: infrastructure. Nigeria operates over 100 military bases and forward locations spread across its territory, allowing it to respond quickly across multiple regions. That kind of spread isn't just about presence, it's about control. Then there's mobility. The country runs around 75 airports, including key military airfields like Makurdi, Kaduna, and Port Harcourt. These aren't just transport hubs. They're critical for moving troops, equipment, and supplies when timing matters most. On the ground, a road network of about 195,000 kilometers supports internal movement, while rail systems are being modernized to improve logistics even further. But the thing most people overlook is that Nigeria also has limited satellite and intelligence systems supporting operations, giving it a basic but growing edge in surveillance and coordination. So while the spotlight often falls on tanks and aircraft, the real backbone of this military is everything you don't see. So Nigeria's military isn't just about size or firepower, it's about potential and the gap between where it is and where it could be. A force with real combat experience, regional influence, and growing local production, yet still facing internal battles and global limitations. So what do you think? Can Nigeria truly become a global military power if it achieves full independence in weapons production? And what happens if it stabilizes its internal conflicts while continuing to expand its capabilities? In the end, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.